finds respite in his boss as he remains in hot water over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a speech late Monday, President Duterte defended the health chief over the procurement of allegedly overpriced personal protective equipment and testing tools which are being used in the country's pandemic response. Duque was also present in the televised briefing.
I would listen to Secretary Duque. But I gave him the instruction, and I admit it in public now, sabi ko sa kanya, do everything you can. I do not care if it's not cheap, if it is expensive, just go ahead and do something about it. Kasi ipit na tayo dito.
The chief executive also commented on Duque's false claim that the Philippines is already experiencing the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. The health secretary has apologized since and insisted that we are actually on the first major wave, to which President Duterte responded.
Alam mo, huwag ka masyadong touchy sa issues because always there will be pro and cons. So alam ko ikaw, you are hard-pressed and I know your situation. You just tell us if that is the one that's in your the gray matter between your ears. Hindi sabihin mo, ayaw ninyo maniwala, bahala kayo, basta ito yung akin.
The president also sought confirmation from Duque about the Koch couple who supposedly offered overpriced supplies to the government. But Duque swiftly denies ties to the couple and insisted he did not know them. Meanwhile, in the same briefing, President Duterte said he will not allow the reopening of classes as long as the vaccine for COVID-19 is not yet available. The DepEd has earlier set the school opening for the incoming academic year on August 24th and has been pushing for alternative learning tools such as online.
But without the vaccine, it's really danger. It spells disaster. So, mask, hugas kamay. Mga bata, wag muna. Yung opening ng classes, that's a very... I will not allow the opening of classes na magdikit-dikit yung mga bata. No?
President Duterte also appealed to LGUs to accept repatriated OFWs who have undergone weeks of quarantine in Manila. He says only the national government can impose restrictions on travel.
Do not obstruct the movement of people because you run the risk of getting sued criminally. Alam mo, ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening, Pilipino to, kababayan natin. Tanggapin ninyo and provide for sequestration houses if you want. Yung doon sila i-quarantine. Pero hati-hati tayo sa problema. Total, hindi naman kami nagkulang. Whatever you need, we provide.
For News 5, Faith Tobias, We Are One News.
The Tourism Department has assigned around 50,000 rooms from various accommodation establishments as venues for returning overseas Filipino workers. That is according to President Duterte's latest weekly report to Congress. The DOT screened and identified over 700 hotels nationwide, which have allocated more than 44,000 rooms for repatriated OFWs. Out of this figure, around 22,000 rooms are available for occupancy as of May 21st. The agency has also reached out to more than 900 non-accredited accommodation establishments to temporarily operate as quarantine facilities for returning OFWs. They have agreed to allot around 6,500 rooms. Last week, National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr. warned that isolation facilities may be overwhelmed with the return of around 42,000 OFWs until next month. And on Monday, policemen raided a shop along Recto Avenue in Manila for allegedly manufacturing fake Interagency Task Force or IATF ID cards. Members of the Manila Police District Station 4 arrested the shop's artist and 6 other individuals. Authorities seized their equipment, including computer sets with printers, along with samples of fake IATF IDs. The suspects will be facing charges including falsification of documents and violation of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act. More stories after a quick break. Stay with us here on One News. Welcome back to One News Now. After scrapping an earlier bill for ABS-CBN's temporary permit to operate, the House of Representatives will now be tackling ABS-CBN's franchise renewal bid this afternoon. Reporting to us live from the Batasan, we have News 5's Ria Fernandez. Ria, how are things over there? Is the hearing in full swing?
Sean, the franchise renewal bid of ABS-CBN is set to be tackled at 1 p.m. today by 2 House committees, namely the Legislative Franchises and the Good Government and Public Accountability. According to Bulacan Representative Jonathan C. Alvarado, who also chairs the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability, they will be calling on several resource persons to shed light and provide an overview of the issue. Among those who are expected to attend today's joint hearing is Solicitor General Jose Calida. But earlier today, Calida has declined the invitation. Calida reiterated that the sub judice rule, which restricts comments that might influence the court, prohibits him from sharing views and recommendations with the House in relation to the quo warranto petition he filed before the Supreme Court and the National Telecommunications Commission's cease and desist order against ABS-CBN. Also on the agenda is the reply of the NTC to the show cause order of House Legislative Franchises Committee Chairperson Franz Alvarez. Recall that NTC broke its commitment to House lawmakers that it will issue a provisional authority once the network's franchise expires, after the Soljan warned that such action is illegal. Speaker Alan Cayetano earlier said that they will hold the hearing even on recess so that by August, they will be ready to decide if they will grant ABS-CBN its 25-year franchise. Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara maintained his legal opinion given to NTC that it can give provisional franchise to ABS-CBN while the application is still pending at the lower house. But what if there's already a cease and desist order? Guevara said the president has the power to modify, amend, recall, or revoke any decision rendered by his subordinates in the executive branch. Sean, also expected to attend today's hearing are the executives from the ABS-CBN. That's the latest from the House of Representatives. Sean?
All right, Ria, so you mentioned that two committees are actually hearing it today. Are we expecting a lot of the congressmen to be physically present, or are they conducting a simultaneous hearing on maybe on the platforms like Zoom or Cisco WebEx?
It's going to be a mixed platforms. Some of them will be attending physically here at the session hall for the ABS-CBN franchise hearing, while the rest will be participating via Zoom teleconferencing app.
They planning to be able to finish, or are there any talks over there of when they will actually finish tackling this bill? Because Congress is already due to recess. Will they be extending the session?
Well, what Speaker Alan Cayetano earlier said is that the hearings will go on until July. What is certain is that before the 5th State of the Nation address of the President, they will be over with this hearing so that by August they will be ready to decide if they're going to grant ABS-CBN a fresh 25-year franchise. But understand that to complete the whole legislative process, ABS-CBN still needs to hurdle the Senate and, of course, the office of the president. So it will really take time.
All right, so the deadline is Halloween, right? October 31. Thank you, Ria Fernandez, for all those updates. We will, I guess, get back to you later on when the hearing starts. Ria Fernandez of News 5 reporting to us live from the Batasan Pambasa in Quezon City. Meanwhile, in Ormoc City, Mayor Richard Gomez hits the national government for its, quote, carelessness in implementing its Balik Probinsya program. In a Facebook post, Gomez singled out the Interior Department, the National Housing Authority or NHA, as well as the OWA or Overseas Workers Welfare Administration. Gomez says he was surprised to see repatriated OFWs arriving in Leyte on Monday without prior notice from these agencies. The mayor adds that he merely received a text message on Monday morning from DILG Region 8 and OWA informing him of of 3 flights of returnees from Manila that were arriving in the airport or in the Tacloban City Airport. However, Mayor Gomez insists he was instructed by the national agencies to receive the returnees even if they have not been properly documented and tested. Ormoc is currently under general community quarantine until the end of May. Another quick break, but more stories after that. Stay with us here on One News. Good afternoon. This is still One News Now. India is now among the 10 worst-hit COVID-19 nations after posting its biggest single-day jump in confirmed cases. The South Asian country landed on the list after reporting over 6,900 new cases on Monday, bringing the total to nearly 140,000 infections. India's death toll, meanwhile, has surpassed 4,000. The spike in new cases comes as businesses and domestic travel in the country resumed. The federal government has not insisted that passengers be quarantined after their flights. However, several states have imposed their own quarantine protocols, creating confusion among many travelers. And just because you can't go outside or can't go out freely, it does not mean you have to say goodbye to your fitness goals during this pandemic. While the government is battling the health crisis, we also have our own battles to win. And one of those is keeping ourselves fit and mentally healthy. Justine Punsalang has a story.
With COVID-19 vaccines still on the far horizon and the government still enforcing lockdown measures, one of the best ways to combat the SARS-like disease or any disease is to keep yourself fit and healthy. Fitness coach Alex Derit says all we need is to go back to basics, live a simpler life, and shy away from junk food.
If you remove snacks and dessert from your diet, you will save money because you won't be spending on these unnecessary food. And you already improve your food kasi you're not taking in these excess calories na hindi naman kailangan.
Derit adds that eating natural food could further boost the immune system.
Actually, even better than vitamins and supplementation, it's best to get all of the nutrients from meals because that's natural and that's what our bodies are used to.
Adding several minutes of workout once a day not only keeps the body strong and in condition, but also helps improve our mental health.
Because exercise, even just a few minutes per day, is actually going to release endorphins. And yung ginagawa ng endorphins is their happy hormones.
Just like with diet, Derit suggests that workouts should be kept basic, especially for those who are new to exercising.
Examples are the basic squats, lunges, push-ups, and jumping jacks. There are other options as well, such as dance workout like Zumba or jogging. Derit explains that doing any physical activity, even household chores, is better than just sitting down or laying down. This is exactly what Jean, an OFW, is doing. She, together with 6 others, were supposed to fly out of the country but were left stranded because of the community quarantine.
Mas okay po na mag-jogging kami, lalabas yung mga pawis namin para yung parang hindi kami nabuboring sa boarding house namin.
Meanwhile, Ian and his brother finally got to take their bikes off for a ride after 2 months of ECQ.
Nakasanayan na po namin na mag-bike dati po. Tapos natigil lang po nung quarantine. Medyo nakakahingal po sa umpisa kasi ang tagal po napahinga. Pero okay lang po. Bumabalik po yung feeling.
Whatever physical activity you choose, make sure to drink lots of water and sleep early to keep yourself hydrated and charged up. For News 5, Justine Punsalang. We are One News.
For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. I'm Shania. We now throw you back to Malacanang's virtual press briefing on the COVID-19 crisis. Good afternoon.